Greetings, everybody. Just Romero here. So, for this week, I decided to shift away from the Natchez Trace history, even though I still intend to research a lot more because I found that very interesting. And I've actually looked into a little bit more and downloaded a lot of resources with regard to the Natchez Indians and their civilization, their civilization that essentially just kind of dissipated and vanished. But anyways, I wanted to pivot more towards my focus on towards research of my dissertation, what my dissertation is going to be about and focus on, which is the United States and its interrelations, foreign policy relations, military relations with regard to the Republic of Iraq. And so with that, I decided to do some research based on the guidelines of look at the history Jerry Falwell Library and the American History Life with full text, as well as the other one, the historical abstracts. And I found three articles from three different periods over the past 20 years, almost 20 years. And I decided this uh, on purpose because I wanted to basically look at the evolution, if you will, in the mindset thinking of America's relations with the Republic of Iraq over time, from before Saddam towards the midst of the occupational war of Operation Iraqi Freedom that began in March 2003 with the removal of Saddam's regime, and then also after last year a good clear analysis looking backwards at all of it. So the first article is from Robin Wright, America's Iraq Policy. How did it come to that? And in this, Wright deals with a great deal as to the United States and its relations with Iraq, continued relations after the removal of Saddam Hussein and his forces from Kuwait. And Wright does touch upon the reasoning, some of the reasoning for why Saddam decided to invade Kuwait, in which a lot of historians, history, it makes clear record that Kuwait actually used to be part of Iraq prior to the 1950s, in which the British carved it off in order to gain monopolize control of the oil ports in the Persian Gulf and control that. And so Saddam, after being backed by the United States, in its invasion of Iran from 1980 to 88, after the United States lost Iran as an ally with the ousters of the Ayatollah in 79, Saddam felt that he needed to recoup since they lost nearly 1 million men, as well as did the Iranians, and it was a considerable financial cost to Saddam. And he wanted to position himself as a unifying force for Arabs in the Gulf, and to he sought to redefine the Middle East. And so Wright makes that very clear and talks about the frustrations that the United States had with Saddam Hussein, and that Saddam obviously had with the United States in carrying out this action of the invasion of Kuwait, as well as America's continued push for sanctions afterwards, and America's frustration with Saddam and Iraq in its trying to buddy up to the young Russian Federation, if you will. The second article that I chose was the Iraq Wars and America's Military Revolution by Keith Shimko, and it is an article that basically analyzes David Kilchin of the New York Oxford Press, his book called Counterinsurgency, in which Kilchin focuses on the military, the revolution of military affairs, in which he focuses on the craft, the warfare, learning capability of military officers in seeking to figure out the methodology in which to defeat insurgency that had sprung up in Iraq, and the mindset and he tried of insurgency, and particularly this Islamic jihadist insurgency. And in this, Kilcullen makes clear that he believed that this insurgency, like such as Al Qaeda, if you will, was more than just an insurgency, but was actually an organized, cohesive, unified Islamic uh, centralized governing body and system, if you will, of which Keith Shimko kind of breaks that down and demonstrates how that over time it's been quite apparent that that was more things that they had ambitions for, that they had hoped for, not that they actually had the capability of such things. Rather, that they probably hoped that with gained victory against the America and the West, that they would glean the support that they need in order to topple these regimes in the Middle East, around the world, these Islamic regimes that the West had put in power, and to somehow bring about their Islamic caliphate. So that's what this article is about. Finally, the third one is from last year, which is I thought was really good, and it kind of brings to circle a lot of all of this previous stuff and a lot more, and that is challenging the American hegemony, and this is from Samuel Helfont, and it deals with Iraq against the world, Saddam America, and the post World War. And it actually is a very good analysis in dealing with a lot of these changing dynamics and how, with the United States' failures in Afghanistan and for the most part in Iraq, with trying to keep like Iranian influences out, as well as other forces that it's not exactly happy with, a lot of nations have decided to begin pulling away from the United States. A lot of the nations that were party to the 2003 invasion have decided, and more progressively so, to withdraw its full support of Iraq. And anybody who's paying attention to the news recently knows that, for example, the United Nations mission to Iraq is going to end at the end of this year and going into 2025. And the Iraqi military government is in um, concerted, committed negotiations with the United States for the removal of all American military personnel from Iraq, other than what will be left at the U.S. Embassy, which is pretty normal for any location the United States is at. So, anyways, this final article deals with that, and yeah, so there's a lot more with that, but I will talk about it later. Thank you. Take care.